This week I wanted to make a video about this brass bolster in the same format as I made the other two videos about this knife. But for the first time ever I lost some footage, so unfortunately the more interesting parts about this technique are lost. Anyway, I will do my best to explain you what I did, and I will show you some extra footage you might find interesting. Also, if you would like to see a better version of this video, let me know in the comments and I will try to remake this in a future knife build. Alright, this is the brass stock that I want to use as bolster. I already ground one, so now I need to transfer the shape to the other. I think most of the time the next step would be to fit the bolster to the tang and then fit the handle. But here I want to have the blue spacer going all the way under the bolster, so instead I'm first gluing up the two scales and I will pin the bolster later on. For this knife I'm using small ebony cutoffs, so I need to be extra careful with positioning. And to make sure I don't glue these two parts out of alignment, I first use some CA glue to keep them together in the right place. Now I can cut two pieces of blue vulcanized fiber, and before I glue everything up with two-part epoxy, I rough off the surfaces with low-grade sandpaper and I clean them very well with solvent and alcohol. The day after I can trim the blue liner and I'm ready to drill holes in the scales. My method to keep everything straight and square is to first drill all holes in one side, clamping tight with a couple of C-clamp, and using pins or the drill bit themselves as locator pins if I need to move the clamps. Once I've done one side, I use pins again to hold it in its position, then I line up the other scales, and I clamp everything together as before. Then I can simply drill holes in the other scale, going through the one that I already made. Here you see me refining the shape of the scales so that I have less to grind later. Now I can glue the scales with 2-part epoxy. I've added black pigments so that the squeeze out fills the filework on the spine. And here we miss some footage. Let's see what I have done. I took 2 pieces of brass round stock, the same diameter as the holes I drilled in the bolster. I used a propane torch to anneal them by heating them up to cherry red, so that they are as soft as possible for pinning. Then I took my railroad track anvil and this cute little hammer, and with many light taps I deformed the ends of the pins until they filled the little chamfer I added to the holes in the bolster. And then I went to my 2x72 to grind flat the handle, being careful not to overheat the brass or burn the wood, and taking extra care to don't touch the part with the filework we already made. After the belt grinder, it was time for some hand sanding, starting at 220 grit. And actually I was very impressed with how indistinguishable already were the pins from the bolster, even with just this low grit finish. I took the handle to 1200 grit by hand, then I buffed everything with polishing compound on a cotton wheel. And now some sharpness test. The obligatory shaving scene. And I know you are here just to see me shaving my thigh, but it's too cold right now, so you only get my forearm this time. And this is the last test I have for you. Hardness file tester straight from Japan. So, if one of these files scratches the steel, it means that the steel itself is not as hard as the file we are using. And it looks like the 55 file is leaving some marks. I'm checking with the 62 just to feel the difference. At the end with this set, we know this blade is between 50 and 55 on the Rockwell scale. That's it for this week, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you again next week. Bye.